Hey, welcome to our 8th anniversary report and report for June and everything that happened here. I'm founder and CEO, lead writer, a whole bunch of stuff here at Broken Hammer. So, yay, let's go ahead and celebrate right now. We have a lot to talk about today, tonight, wherever you are when you watch this. We have some big reveals that we have planned, and yeah, it will be a Project 2 report. So let's go ahead and get started right now. From our early days till now, when we look back and reflect at Broken Hammer here from 2016, I mean, we committed ourselves heavily to seeing Dust and Air get out and get the release, get the story written, completed, and we worked heavily on that over the years. I put in a lot of hours on it myself, and right now we do have the story arcs. They are underway. We are working on them and such. Although we had to kind of shift a bit of things because the engine issues that we were finding, we had enough with the engine. And of course, there are the reports you can go back and look that we switched over to Unity engine, and we've been using that for Project 2 to kind of feel out everything, get used to it, have a it's sometimes easier to have like a clean slate, blank project to kind of start from instead of having to transition everything, so we understand what we need to do when we transition the Dust and Air over to the new game engine as well. And ultimately, though, that has probably been some of our biggest issues over the years that we would looking back now, or the last 8 years of Broken Hammer's life, is the fact that we've had all these real life happenings, engine issues, porting problems, like a lot of stuff that some other devs don't have the issues with because they started with a better engine than we did. And now, well, ideally, I mean, we did not know 8 years ago that Terrano Builder was just going to kind of go bye bye and switch over to Japanese devs only. And so they kind of left us high and dry, and so we're moving on. And so that's why we are doing this report for our 8th anniversary to mark another major milestone, because Project 2 now has a full name. Now, if you were looking at the blog report, you will know it is called The Father's Story. And that was actually, I think we mentioned some of this a while back, that it was our internal code name for it, but it wasn't really caught on. We weren't dancing around with some other ideas for it, and we finally, it's like, the internal code name is like literally our best name that we have. So yeah, it is going to be on Steam right now. When you watch this video or read the blog, there should be a link to the Steam page, and that is our teaser page is up. We're getting some details out on it, and this is also to help give us a bit of a rolling start. This was one thing Dust and Air did not have as much of. We had the early access, but when we went to the early access, we just kind of like popped it on there. It's like, oh, here's early access. We didn't give it a rolling start, kind of that let people like, oh, hey, this is new game coming, get the wish list up. And we learned from the hard way that it was like other devs told us, you really should get it up and give it some lead time first. And so we learned that, so we're going to apply those to the Father's Story, and we'll be hopefully we're going to be getting that right this time. This story is the second title, and yes, for those that haven't been paying attention over the last year or two, this has been a side project, but it is a fully fledged visual novel in its own right. It's not going to be just like this is just like a one chapter little thing. No, this is a full novel type thing. It's just not as big as Dust and Air. And as I said earlier, it's meant to get the Unity. We're meant to kind of build on the new engine with it first, so we can transfer what we've learned from there over to Dust and Air and get that going a little bit faster too. So the real question some of you want is, what is the Father's Story? And to put it simply, it is the story of a child he was born with a lot of disabilities. He was set during the first century Roman Palestine era. And it takes place during the Christmas story time frame, so there's a lot of people would expect that, this is going to have this happening, that happening, all the usual stuff. No, we're trying to do a different side to that story. We're trying to show more of the people that had to live during that time period, the day-to-day stuff. So we want it to be a lot more down to earth versus everything you all know, everything you've heard over your entire life, Christmas stories type stuff. No, no, no. We want this down to earth. We want this to mostly be about the characters that are living during that time period, even though this great event is happening. But we're gonna probably fill in some gaps in the narrative. And do you need to know the story? All this stuff? No, you don't need to know the story. You can just jump right in with it, and you can kind of get the idea as it goes. This is not supposed to be a game or a story that is like very heavy-handed, very heavy, like, oh, you have to know this stuff, it's going to beat you over the head with it. No, no, no. This is meant to be something that, okay, you can grasp it, you can get in. Okay, this is just a story. Watch it, read it. It's meant for that purpose. It's not meant to be like a beating tool or anything like that. So why did we, this is a question, why did we pick this instead of other stories? And to be honest, there was some other stories that were on the back burner that I've been working on, and when all things came together, I mean, this one kind of took off more. We started getting people interested in it that were working on it, and just one thing after another, and it came together, and the ideas just came in better. That's basically how I can describe it. I mean, concepting for it began quite a few years ago, but we did kind of put it aside for Dust and Air again, because Dust and Air was taking the focus. A lot of the development was pretty much 2022, with the brunt of the assets in 2023 that we were doing, and we got a huge amount of it done within the last 2 years. So it's given us a lot better idea of how much lead time, how much development we need for other projects and other titles. It will be listed as to be announced. We're not going to put a date yet because we're within a 6 month to a year time frame where we're projecting out, and so we have a lot of it done. We have still the music and a few other engine type of things to kind of tweak and figure out, and that's why we're kind of trying to be like probably 6 months, but we're going to give it a little bit more time to make sure it's done. We're not going to say, oh, we're going to have this out by holiday season 2024, and then it's like, uh-oh, where is it? So we're not going to try to catch ourselves. We're going to give this as much time as we possibly need to get it done, and it is going along pretty good pace right now. And so what I'm going to do actually for this report, for the video report, I am going to load up Unity and the preview engine. This will be a very early alpha look and the first opening scenes of the father's story, but it hopefully will give you a better idea about what we're working on and where we're wanting this story to go. Unfortunately, there's no music, so that is one of the little quirks. Is I'll try to kind of comment on some stuff as we go. So let me go ahead and pull up the engine. This is just a very simple this is a very simple splash screen. We don't have the UI elements all the way yet. We do have some UI art in development, but we're still trying to get it into the engine exactly the way we want it to. It's a little bit different than Tyranno. Tyranno, you just drag and drop stuff, and it's very easy. Unity, there's all these sort of other things you have to do behind the scenes to get it to work. But enough said, let's go ahead and start the game. And of course, this is alpha footage, early version. This is our character Enosh, and as you can see, he is, why was I born this way? He was born disabled. And he's kind of contemplating himself and his life. He's looking into this pond, or actually it's like a big washing thing. There's some fixes we got to do there. Disgusting. They should have killed this thing at birth. This is detailing. He has not had a very good life because he looks different. And that was kind of him when he was younger, and now this is him. His age is probably around 13-ish or so, 12 to 15. That's the time frame. And of course, the kids, when he's growing up, calling him Munster. Possessed, don't touch you or possessed too. Let's stone him. Yeah. But of course, we don't want to show that his life is all terrible. Somebody stands up. Now, there is going to be multiple heroines in this title. It's not just going to be Bethia. She's just kind of our first introduction one. There's the baker's daughter. Now, of course, the music themes are going to change here once we get them done. This is going to be a very highly tense moment. You can hide the UI a second. You can see this is when he was little. And the mother is trying to shield him from the dad, who basically wants to beat him to death. Yes, this is not a very peaceful, happy little start to a story. This is yeah, that child's a blight on the family and on his name. He's this dad. He's more concerned about the name, more concerned about the appearance. Generally, when what we know of the time period when you're born with disabilities like this, you did not have an easy life, and this is kind of what's highlighting here. The mother's trying to defend it. Blight should never wed us. Yeah, should never wed a Samaritan. That was actually a very big insult in that time period. If you were born or you were not like a pure-blooded person, you were considered like very much unclean and such. They hated him. He doesn't understand this. He's a child. He doesn't know why his mother was deemed bad and such. She was always good to him. So her cooking and him eating and then putting him to sleep. Of course, since this is a period piece, more of a biblical type thing, we want to bring up Moses and stuff. She's trying to teach him things. She's trying to teach him the stories and such, pass things down. And I mean, she truly, deeply cares for him despite his disability. He doesn't really understand everything at all. And then he leaves him. And of course, when you are in a situation where the husband has gone off and he's left in that time period, well, who's to support the family? All the pressure comes on her. She's the only one left, and with a child that can't really do much in that time period, she had to do certain things at night. And then she gets sick. Keeping all sorts of odd hours, trying to make ends meet and trying to support them both. And of course, the child at this, he doesn't understand, and he's just, I gotta help, I gotta do something. No matter where he goes, they beat him, they spat on him, they laughed at him. He even goes to Bethia's mom. Bethia is one of the ones that's helped him. Don't want you playing with this thing anymore. And of course, she's extremely shocked that those words came out of her mother's mouth. But by then, it's like if you're associating with people, I mean, it's very harsh. It's not like the cheery time period, like, oh, everything's wonderful, we'll help you out and such. People can be very cruel. He doesn't see her often anymore. Sees her running errands. Nice to chat him for a moment. Mother always liked her. Tried to get her to stop by, but only she hadn't gotten sick. Bad days before the worst day. Who are you? I know some people are going to think, "Oh, Jesus showed up." No, no, this is one of the this is the boss of the shepherds in the area, and he is more of a gray character. He is not nice, not super evil. He's very more much of a gray character. That's why we have a more of a gray frame here. The rain coming in. You were a kid. He's like, "Where's Mama?" Dead. Very blunt with him. What to do with you? He's like, he's trying to cope with the idea that his mother's dead, and he's just like, "Yeah, well, you're born, you live, you die, whatever. Come on, kid, get over it." Like, then he kind of shows he's like, he sympathizes, but he's kind of trying to tell him, you got to toughen up. And I know there's a lot of people that have dads like this who are like, very much tough it up, get through it. Help her out. People around here wouldn't treat you too well. So he understands the plight of the situation. He understands that Enosh isn't going around like, "Help me, help me, help me," and nobody's helping. Good news. Now here comes the exploitation part. He's like, now that you're an orphan, people love charity towards orphans. So you can see in his mind, he's trying to put it in a way that now you have something you can do. Now you can work for me. He wants to put the Crybaby Act to good use. He wants to put this, "Oh, woe is me, this poor child who was born disabled. Now he's an orphan." Of course, he can't. He's only thinking about his mother at this time. But there's a connection between him and the mother. And out of the respect for her, he's going to allow him to keep living there. But of course, he is like, "This is my place now. I'm taking over. You can live here, but you have to earn your keep to stay." And now you're thinking about this guy is so cruel. The kid is breaking down in tears, and he's just like, "You got to earn your keep to stay here. Every day you're back at the gate." He's like, "No, I'll help you get an official document from the Romans," which is kind of one of the things that they had to have during that time period. I mean, you go freeway off ramps, things like that today, and you'll see people begging and such. But back then, it's like, unless you had a special garment from the Romans on, they wouldn't let you just go around and beg, or people wouldn't give you much money because they're figuring, well, you're not official. We don't know if you're really poor or not. So, of course, he doesn't care. He's like, "My mother's dead." And he's saying, "You're going to tend the sheep with us." And Mom was dead. He's asking again, why was he born this way? Cover me like I'm sick. Feed me scraps. Bed isn't even his bed anymore. Because of course they took his bed. His bed was nice. Pretty much sleeps on the floor. Don't like this life. That is where we are going to stop today. So that kind of is a little early teaser of the father's story. That's at least the opening scenes to the story. Hopefully gives you a good idea on what we're building, what we're leading to, and if you can see on the Steam page, there is full character models. This isn't our only art style. It isn't only key images going from one to the next. We do have a lot of key images, though. We're working with an artist from the Philippines who is just like, he's really fast with building the key images, and so he's been a big help to that. So there is going to be a lot of those images with his art style, and then we're going to have our other art style, which comes in from Ingrid. She's a local artist here in California, and she does amazing character models. And so we're kind of going to be blending both art styles as we go, and we're going to try to keep it down to 2 art styles, unlike Dust and Air, where we kind of had like 3 to 4 mixed in there. This is a small team project. It is not massive team or using team members that do not work on Destinaire usually. Some of them have kind of done a little bit of stuff for Destinaire, but we're mostly trying to keep it to the small team we have here. This will be a separate thing. So that is it for the month of June. We had a lot of expression work done. We've finished up almost every one of the major characters for the father story for the expression work. We're going to be moving on to minor characters, which doesn't require very many expressions. So we're projecting maybe to get the expressions done possibly in the month of July, maybe going into August. We'll see with the schedules and stuff. There's also holidays and everything like that too. But yeah, it's making good progress. Once we finish that, we move into music. We have a couple leads on some music that we're really kind of got a good sense of, that we maybe want to use this music piece or this one person for it. We'll do an announcement on that when it comes. So aside from that, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, stay cool. And if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, stay warm and enjoy the Steam Summer Sale. Destinaire is on sale, and be sure to wish list on Father's Story if you're interested. If not, then have a great summer. See you in the skies. Bye.